Welcome to another episode of the Noles Podcast. I'm your host, Gregory McCoy. This podcast is by a fan for fans. I am not a journalist. I am not a reporter. I am not an insider. I do not work for a website. The majority of my content comes from me, in my opinion. Other information comes from the internet. Today is January 28th, 2020. I got about 5 different segments here I wrote for this episode. I hope you enjoy it. And let's go ahead and get started. First segment is entitled, Will Florida State be ranked anytime in 2020? And here's what I wrote about that. Will Florida State be ranked anytime in 2020? To be honest, I really don't know. They have the talent to be ranked, but the question is, do the players have the desire? That's really where everything begins and ends. The players have to believe in what the coach is selling, and more so, the players have to believe in themselves to get the job done. The last 2 years, I don't believe any of that took place. Being ranked is not where Florida State wants to be. They want to compete for national championships year in and year out. Of course, you got to be ranked to do that. Like I have stated previously many times, fix the offensive line. Florida State is back in business. No O-line, fix. It's Willie Taggart 2.0. 20 years ago, being ranked was a foregone conclusion. Florida State has got to get the standard back. All right. So that's what I wrote for that segment. And here's how I'm feeling right now. Just, the program is, we're at the point where just being ranked is what we're happy with now. Okay. I can't sit here and believe that the talent disparity between the top teams and us is that great. It's a gap there, but I don't believe it's like, Clemson and like UTEP disparity. We're closer to Clemson and UTEP. And I mean, it's safe to say that if we can get some quality coaching, that we can at least be competitive with Clemson for 4 quarters. I'm not saying beat them, but 45-14 and 52 to whatever it was 2 years ago. Come on. We better than that. I don't care what you say. We better than that. And first thing, the players have to believe it for themselves. A coach can stand in front of them all day and yell at them and tell them they're this and tell them they're that until he's blue in the face. If they don't believe it, it's a moot point. Football is a sport that starts from within. You have to want to be a champion. You have to want to be the best. You have to put in the work. The coach is only going to get you so far. He can show you the best X's and O's in the game, but if you don't have the fortitude to go out there and execute what he's giving you to execute, it's a moot point. So let me know what you think about that segment. Next segment is entitled, Does Bulletin Board Material Work in Football? And here's what I wrote about that. Does bulletin board material work in football? Well, of course it does. Every week a team is looking for that edge. And they're looking for something to inspire them from the opposing team. Some teams start talking during the game week. Then you have to focus on the task at hand, and that's winning and dominating your opponent. It kills me when a Clemson or Alabama tries to play the underdog role. If I was the opposing team, I would take this as bulletin board material, just for the simple fact that these are probably 2 of the winningest programs the last 5 or 6 years. And to try to play the underdog role is just nonsense to me. These 2 teams in particular, they get the best talent year in and year out the last 5 or 6 years. And, if you have a great team and a great program, why are you shying away from saying I got a great team and a great program? The one thing I admire about about Ed Orgeron, we'll play anybody, anywhere, go Tigers. I love that. It's not arrogant. It's saying I'm confident in my team, and we'll play anybody. And they went out there and they beat everybody that stood in front of them. I love it. That's not bad sportsmanship. Saying that you're gonna beat anybody that steps in front of you. That's not bad sportsmanship. That's letting everybody know that you think that you got the baddest team in the country. And there's nothing wrong with that. So let me know what you think about that segment. Next segment is entitled Pro Bowl or Senior Bowl? Which is better? Pro Bowl or Senior Bowl? Which is better? The Pro Bowl has always been a glorified flag football game. The top players in the league participate in this all-star game, but to me, it holds no real prestige. Back in the day, they held it in Hawaii every year, so that was a bonus for the players, but now they hold it in the Super Bowl host city. They have tried to spice it up differently with Hall of Famers picking the players. I like the old format better. The Senior Bowl is more competitive. These guys are auditioning for NFL coaches all week, so the hunger to compete and possibly get drafted makes this a better game to watch. And you see the players from non-FBS schools every once in a while get in there and do great things. Sometimes you even find gems in this game. So I have to say that the Senior Bowl is the better overall game. I can't even remember the last time I watched the Pro Bowl. I just don't. It's like I said, it's a glorified flag football game. They could do away with it for all I care. I mean, the Senior Bowl is more competitive just because these guys, they're being coached by NFL coaches, and they're basically auditioning for a job. So it's gonna be highly competitive. That's I haven't watched the Senior Bowl in a while either, because every time it comes on, I have to work. So it's not a must-see game. So let me know what you think about that, Pro Bowl or Senior Bowl. All right, next up is going to be, the next segment is entitled Atlanta Deion Sanders versus San Francisco Deion Sanders versus Dallas Deion Sanders. Who you got? And this is what I wrote about that. Atlanta Deion versus San Francisco Deion versus Dallas Deion. Who you got? Atlanta Deion came into the NFL wanting to show everyone that he was the best from day one. But because Atlanta really wasn't that good, Deion couldn't get the respect I felt he deserved. Atlanta Deion was formidable and scared QBs away from his side. And, he was just a glove. He was the glove before the glove. Now, San Francisco Deion was his coming out party. Finally on a winning team and a winning organization, San Francisco Deion set the NFL on fire the 1 year he was there. 303 interception yards, Defensive Player of the Year, and he won the Super Bowl. He gained universal recognition as one of the best, if not the best, defensive players in the game. All right. Dallas Deion would win another Super Bowl the following year. Because QBs never, or quarterbacks never threw at him, in addition to doing punt returns, he started playing receiver. And to my surprise, he was pretty good at it. His burst on his first step, when he would run, was crazy. So, when Deion first came into the league, man, he made a lot of big plays, but he really wasn't dominating. Okay, when he got to San Francisco, he turned it up. He wanted to show Atlanta, he wanted to show the NFL that I'm one of the best defensive players in the game today. And he did that. I mean, I think he had 2 or 3 interception returns to the house, man. He played lights out in the Super Bowl. And, you know, then Dallas Deion, he played receiver. He ran some punts back. I mean, he invented shutdown corner. Okay? I think it's really it's nobody I would put on Deion's level. But if you're talking about just in the conversation, a young Rod Woodson at Pittsburgh when he played corner before the knee injury, Champ Bailey, Darrelle Revis, those are the only guys that I feel like, okay, you could make a legit case. I like Gilmore up at New England. I like him a lot. You just can't put a price on a shutdown corner. I can put my best corner on your best receiver, and he's not getting nothing. I mean, you gotta love that. You got to. All right. So let me know what you think about that segment. Next segment is entitled, Does Herbie Have Too Much Influence and Power in College Football? And we know who Herbie is, okay? I don't want to say his name and he sues me or something. So we just going to go by Herbie. All right. Does Herbie have too much power and influence over college football? I think Herbie can get a guy fired almost instantly, like Willie Taggart. And I thank him for that. But, you know, somebody like Chip Kelly or Scott Frost, who hasn't done really well at the programs that they're at, I don't hear Herbie criticizing those guys the way he did Willie Taggart. I'm not defending Willie Taggart, but fair is fair. Criticize all teams who stink. Okay? Herbie's influence to me can get a guy hired as well. The viewership on the 4-letter network college football show is crazy. I'm sure athletic directors and coaches watch the show, so everyone knows that this platform can do good or bad for coaches. I like Herbie. He's the best color commentator in the sport. I'll just leave it at that. You know, he wields a lot of power. I just wish he would just stop and just stick to doing the color commentary for college football games. I respect your opinion. You're a great analyst. There's when I want to know something, there's not another voice or another show that I'm going to turn to when it comes to college football. Hell, I want you to do Monday Night Football. You and your partner on the Saturday night games. But, you know, the 4-letter network won't do it. So, yeah, and you got other power brokers in football whose just voice carries a lot of weight with people. And I just don't like it, man. I don't like it. Again, not defending Willie Taggart. He sucked. I mean, I don't know if he was in over his head. You know, they were saying that the administration cut the budget so he could fail, so they could fire him. It is what it is, man. But at the end of the day, you know, if a guy's doing a bad job, that's fine, criticize him. But the other guys at other places that's doing bad jobs and I don't hear you criticizing him, that's a problem. So that's going to wrap up this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. This podcast is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify Podcasts. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, please scroll down to the description, click on one of the links, rate, review, and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I appreciate all my listeners who listen on a daily basis. I love you guys. Thank you for your support. And as always, go Noles.